Now we go on to look at what's happening in individual countries, what is the crop scenario and so on. So the next 2 hours, we are 15 minutes behind schedule, but I think we'll still catch up. To run this session, titled Country-Wise Sesame Crop Scenario for 2021, Review and Outlook, I request Mr. Sandeep Bura, Director, Home India Trading Company Private Limited, to join as the moderator. And joining him in the panel, there are about 10 of them, but I'm going to give a very brief description about each of them because each of them have a minimum of 15 years of experience. So I should do the justice by reading out a couple of lines about each of them, starting with Mr. Sandeep Pura. Mr. Sandeep is a third generation in business. The company has been doing Sesame seed for over 65 years. For Mr. Sandeep, it's 21 years into Sesame industry. He himself has done 21 years. That's quite a lot of time. And they were the first one to export Sesame seed to China. And they are a 3-star export house status holder in India. And the speaker from ETG is Mr. Tarun Chawla. He is the Chief Operating Officer of ETG in charge of pulses, Sesame seed and peanuts. Mr. Tarun Chawla oversees all origination, trading and logistics operation, spanning over 25 origins and 1 billion in annual revenue. Mr. Tarun has 19 plus years of commodities, supply chain and F&B manufacturing experience. Before joining ETG, Mr. Tarun worked for 12 years as General Manager of Olam's China business. Mr. Tarun is a mechanical engineer and a postgraduate from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. The second speaker is Mr. Sise Asmare. He's obtained his Chartered Certified Accountant certificate from Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA, London. He has worked in banking sector for some time before starting his own company, RAB Industrial and Commercial PLC. In the trading sector, his company is engaged in processing and exporting sesame seed, pulses, and spices since 2010. And he has got a well-organized export commodity warehouse, cleaning, and logistic facility. Since April 2021, Mr. Sese is the chairman of the board of directors of the Ethiopian Pulses, Oilseeds, and Spices Processors and Exporters Association, which we all know as EPOSPIA. He would be our speaker who would speak on Ethiopia. Then we would have Mr. Sebastian Andrew. He's a well-known name in the industry, having over 17 years experience in sesame seeds business. He's a part of the leading companies in the trade and has wide experience in managing many originations and markets. Currently, Mr. Sebastian is working as business manager at Wing Corporation DMCC, which comes under TGI group of companies handling natural sesame seeds, hulled sesame seeds to all the markets. Then we have Mr. Alok Bhargava, founder of Praram Agri Trading DMCC, a qualified chartered accountant from India, who started his journey in commodities in 1995, traveled extensively in Africa, set up his own company in 2005 in Dubai, and has been doing immensely well in 2016, I beg your pardon, and he is the founder of Praram Agri Trading DMCC. Within a short span of time, Praram Agri Trading has been awarded as the emerging re-exporter of the year 2018 by Dubai Exports in association with DP World, and he is also been decorated as the most iconic NRI of the year for 2018 in Dubai by the Ministry of External Affairs India in food category. Then we have a speaker from Sudan, Mr. Memon Gheli, who is a BSc in Banking, Foreign Trade from Sudan Academic College. He's the chairman and GM of Gheli for Export Promotion, Khartoum, Sudan. The company established in 1996, designed to enlarge exports of Sudanese oil seeds to all over the world, including China, India, Europe, and Middle East. To add value to sesame seed, in 2020, Mr. Gheli established Ganat factory for hulled sesame, tahini, and halwa. That's very, very interesting. and he would be joining us and providing an insight on what's happening in Sudan. We have Mr. Danny Chen, CEO of Flavorful Foods Inc., Taiwan. This company is very, very popular, and the Foods Incorporated is a publicly listed company in Taiwan Stock Exchange, specialized in sesame products for 50 years. Main foundations are in Taiwan, Shanghai, Guangxi, and Africa. Supplying African sesame seed to worldwide customers is their motto, dedicated to producing all kinds of sesame products. It's very, very, very interesting to see their website, the variety of products, what they make, including hulled sesame, sesame oil, sesame paste, sesame powder, and healthy products. Monique Ora, Director, Anand Agro Commodities, would speak on India. Some of the things which the chairman sir alluded to in terms of crop surveys, we would see some visuals. Mr. Anand Agro Commodities is into business since 1948 and has an experience of over 70 years as broker, indenting agent of agri commodities. Mr. Monique Ora is a third generation to take forward this legacy of his forefathers. Anand Agro mainly deals in sesame seed, sesame oil, peanut oil, and other agri commodities. Anand Agro has been a very strong client base in India, Africa, Dubai, Pakistan, and China. Their USP is honesty, integrity, ethics, commitment, and consistency. Mr. Mahesh Raja Manglani, Director Commercial, Mast Kalanda Group, would talk about what Mr. Sanjeev Sharma earlier alluded to, the new darling of the market, Pakistan. A lot of happenings, a lot of very, very positive things, especially like the export to China. We would hear more from him. He's the Director, Pakistan Russia Business Council, Vice Chairman, Pakistan Ukraine Business Council, Finance Secretary, Pakistan Pulses and Importers Association. So he's the right person to talk about what's happening in Pakistan. We have a lady from Brazil, Miss Camelia, Camelia Regina Lander, the broker at Corepar Farm Products, would speak about the Brazilian sesame sector. Then we would have Mr. Gilberto Osorio, who is an experienced businessman who is currently the president of CAPEXE, Paraguayan Exporters Chamber of Sesame. He's also the president of Dulsan Organica SA. He's been 14 years in agricultural products exports, specialist in international trade and sustainable business development, member of several chambers of and associations of production and industry in Paraguay. With this, we have about 10 speakers and a very, very, very competent moderator to run this session. I hand over the session to Mr. Sandipura. Over to you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Srivastava, for lovely introduction for each of our panelists. And I wish everybody are healthy, and I am sure people from South America, it must be very early. So let's not waste any time, start our session. So we will be covering a lot of origins as you see, and we'll be starting with Mr. Tarun. He would be presenting for Tanzania, Mozambique, and Uganda sesame from ETG. Tarun, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you, Sandeep.
Yeah,
first of all, congratulations to the conference to organize this event. It's and a platform where you can come and interact with each other in a time where the travel is still difficult, but things have improved a lot. And Sandeep, do you want me to share my presentation, or will it be more of interaction?
No, you can share your presentation. Just probably you can take 5-7 minutes and go through it.
All right. So let me just take through the presentation.
We can put the presentation, sir, for all of you.
Thank you, but I think it will be easier for me to control if I'm doing the presentation. If that's
absolutely
okay.
Fine. Please go ahead.
So I'm assuming my screen is visible, so I'll continue. Sandeep?
Yes, Tarun, please.
So A quick disclaimer, and to start with, I'll just cover how things look for the global trade also, and specifically given to me the origins of Tanzania, Mozambique, and Uganda, and I'll speak about them more about it, and then how the Northern Hemisphere crop outlook because of what Sanjeev already spoke, the supply shortages which are likely to impact, and I'll briefly cover on the China, rest of the world demand, our price view, and the forward outlook. So the global trade, we all believe that will shrink because of the supply shortages. The farmers had a better option or remunerative options in West Africa to plant. Ethiopia is going through a political turmoil. Sudan, we all know there can be an issues related to what the port is closed. There is a coup which has happened, and we can continue to have supply disruption. So specifically about Mozambique, I think the shortage. So the year before, we saw a significant supply from Mozambique, but then this year, I believe that the Mozambique supply has reduced. Similarly, Tanzania, it went up slightly to 130, 135 range, and then came back to 120 range. So there was an estimate a year before that it actually exceeded 220,000 tons of the total arrivals from Tanzania, Mozambique. But this year, this number will be slightly towards 200,000 tons or slightly lower. Uganda, the most important niche segment which has Uganda developed is the organic sesame, which is now still not very sizable, but I think has found a niche into European markets. And Uganda continues to trade at a significant premium. It is now a niche origin and not a regular origin, which trades into the Chinese market for crushing. If we talk about the Northern Hemisphere shortages, which are very likely and which are most likely being reported, China went through difficult weather conditions, and also the sesame was not the first choice of the farmer given the options they had, and they were making money out of them. So we believe that the entire Northern Hemisphere crop can be slightly 250,000 tons short, somewhere in that range, given the factors we just discussed. China's demand, see, China, we have to mention here because China does move the needle. It is out of the 2 million tons trade in sesame, it is 50% of the trade, more than 1 million tons is bought in China through major African origins. So Chinese imports this year probably would be historic high in number, but despite that, the prices are, or the market trades the forward outlook. So the forward outlook, which is already now a public domain information, is the crop shortages in the Northern Hemisphere. So we see some disparity in the Chinese port prices and the offers in the or the cost in the origin. So this disparity is a clear signal that the port stocks is a cushion and not an indicator always for how the origins will behave. So the delinking is a very visible now. I'd like to highlight how the Nigeria last year exceeded 290,000 tons in 2021, the arrivals in China itself, given that total of Nigeria crop is last year was much higher than earlier estimated. Rest of the world demand, yes, we covered in the earlier conference also that this year Japan will have a reduction in demand for 150,000 tons, but that will take away all the cushion which they had developed a year before. So they will have to come and buy for the next season. So we believe that they should be somewhere between 150 to 200,000 tons, if not above 200,000 tons. All the other, whether it's Middle East, Turkey, Israel, and European Union, we will see the demand coming in as the COVID impacts it. So overall of 800 to 850,000 tons of the trade can happen in terms of processed sesame and the natural sesame. India import and re-export parity remains challenged. Import is still something which less likely. Some of the previous trades which may have happened may reach, but less likely that at the current pricing, the import for re-export will be viable for now. Let's see how that pans out. The pricing has already gone above the roof. Sesame is trading above $1,600 in China, and the climate and the crop returns were the major reasons. It is a row crop, and if the farmers have another alternatives, they have already chosen other crops over sesame, giving that a supply shock, which was probably much needed in the market. Currencies and China as the demand continues to impact. So these 5 Cs, where we believe will continue to have a significant weightage on how the prices will move. Forward outlook, there is a second year of La Nina, and it has been a strong La Nina year. This has resulted in the dry weathers in the US and the other part, especially the western part of the US. And we have seen very high wet conditions in China, Southeast Asia, given some abnormal rains, and even in Gujarat, which I believe the India panelist covered more in detail, that impact was there. Higher logistics cost is something which has impacted everybody. The freights which we have seen in the last few months have given us, shaken up the whole industry. We have probably never paid so much freight in our lifetime, which we are paying now, especially for the panelists who are all 15, 20 years of experience. I don't believe anybody has paid that freight. Then coming to the bearish cues, it is very early to say, but the festival demands, which used to be there, whether it's India or Chinese New Year, is not actually coming out to be the way it normally comes, whether it is belt tightening or the loss of income, or the sentiments have not turned so much bullish towards the demand. I would like to bring an important point to notice is that, see, yes, when Sesame was trading at a $1,200 price range, there was no adulteration, there was no substitution, there was no blending. Those things we have heard when prices touch $1,800 or $1,700. And any 10% substitution or blending in form of oil, paste, and other usages can take away 100 to 200,000 tons of demand away from the market. So while there is a shortage, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there can be a demand substitution. But given the shortages and the port disruptions and the overall higher logistics cost, Sesame is trading at $1,600 to $1,800 price range, depending on which origin and quality you speak. Thank you. And if there are any questions, I can take.
Thank you, Tarun. Stay with us. We'll have the question answers probably after everybody has their presentation done.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Next, we'll have Mr. Sorry, I lost the list. Yeah. We have Mr. Sise for presenting Ethiopian Sesame. He's the president from IPOSPA. Can you hear me, Mr. Sise?
Sir, please unmute your mic.
How now?
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
hello?
it's fine. Please go ahead.
Fine.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Can you the presentation as you run? Okay. Thank you, sir. Welcome all for this important meeting. Thank you, the president or the host. I'm going to present my country's system production and country situation. Thank you. Next screen. Okay. Ethiopia, as you know, Ethiopia is a big country, almost 1.1 million hectare of land. From this, most of the land areas, about 60% of the land area can grow sesame seed. But so far we are developing only small portion of the countries' available resource because of various conditions like instability and undeveloped infrastructure. We have been using only small portion of our land. So from this, we expect next screen. Because of this, our contribution to the international system market has been very low, and still from 2015, as you see, from 2015 to 2021, our production and supply to the world is decreasing because of two reasons. One, this internal displacement and instability in this change environment. Secondly, next screen. Yeah, as you see, it's our supply has been reducing from 390,000 to 181,000 this export volume. This is because of two reasons. One, because of this price decline of the international market price of sesame, some of our sesame growing areas are being changed to another crop like soybean, cotton, and everything. Secondly, because of this change environment since 2015 to until now is not completed. So some of the growing areas, the farmers were disrupted, and as a result, our export volume and production volume has been declining. Next. Yeah. Okay, let us say here. Because of this, the price condition and the instability of the country, our trade volume has been very low, but now we hope this condition will be getting solution. So our export volume is expected to be growing in near futures. For this year, some of our colleagues estimated Ethiopian product is about 140,000 metric ton. Another presenter estimated 150,000. But as per our study, most of these sesame growing areas are not affected with this current conflict situation. As a result, this much decline is not expected in production and export. As well, the rain situation, the environment situation is good, so we expect our product and export volume will reach about 300 to 350,000. This is on last year performance, but for 2021-22, we expect from 300,000 to 350,000 metric ton, not 150,000. Back, please. Yeah, this is the hectare coverage, about only 50,000, around 50,000. When you 7 700 kilogram per hectare. If you estimate it, it's around 300 something. So we produce, all the produce are exported to international market. It's the forex source. So we expect better volume of export in this fiscal year. As I said it, no weather catastrophe, sign of pest infection is not reported. Rainfall is suitable. Therefore, the decline in area coverage is expected to be trade-off by improved productivity. Another areas like before, they were not producing sesame, and now they are coming to production. For instance, Somali region, the Oromia region, the South region, the Gambela region, they all are safe in this war condition. Only this the north central north part of the country is have conflict. In this area, we don't get any export commodities from this region. So I hope in sesame in the next years we'll expect to be good. But the important thing is this product sesame, you get very small amount of stock. I mean, harvest from big land coverage, and the input on the agriculture is very high. So farmers do not want to invest their land and their resource in the sesame because per hectare yield per hectare is very small, and if the price doesn't compensate their input, so no need to invest in that. This shows the 2000, for instance, 2015, it was 2000 something, 2000 to 2,500 US dollar per metric ton by then. Then since then it is coming down to 1,400, 1,200, everything. So from time to time, farmers are converting their land to another crops. So because of this, maybe our production will not increase. And this year we expect this much because around 550,000 hectares of land is covered with sesame seed. Thank you for
thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to say something? Please.
Yes. Bring the presentation. The presentation.
Can we have the presentation again?
Yes.
Yeah.
The presentation paper. Okay. Let me proceed. Yeah. I invite you all to participate in the next we prepare a webinar session on 23 November. So you all are invited to participate in this. At that time, we'll have the products on hand. So this is our estimate. But at the time of our webinar, we'll have the product, and the market discovery will be very good at that time. So you are invited on our webinar seminar presentation on 23 November. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sesame. Next, we have Mr. Mamoon Gheli from Gheli Trading DMCC. He will present us about information from Sudanese Sesame. Mr. Gheli. Mr. Gheli, can you hear me? Can anyone check whether he has joined in? Any problems?
Mr. Sandeep, Mr. Gailey has given his presentation with, we will just upload that.
Okay,
bear with us for a minute. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Sandeep, like, there is an issue with the presentation. You can go ahead with the other speaker. We'll get back.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So we go on to the next speaker. That will be Sebastian Andrews from Wings Corporation. He will be presenting with Sesame information from Nigeria. Sebastian, over to you.
Hi, Sandeep. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
You can see the presentation also.
Presentation. Yes, yes.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the people who participate from different parts of the world. I'm here just to give a brief about the Nigerian crop outlook of the new season. A small disclaimer. The statements and numbers we share here are personal views and not for trading recommendations. The topics which we go through is one is product producing regions in Nigeria, the new crop estimates, the export out of Nigeria in the past, Nigeria moving into value-added sector, the challenges in the season, and our forward outlook. The sesame producing areas are mainly two regions. One is the northern belt and then the central belt. The northern belt is also called as Kano region, and the central belt is called as Benue type. In the recent years, people are coming with specific region places like Yobe, Jigawa, Katsina. So different names are coming up, but broadly we are classified into two: the northern belt and the central belt. The other two, one which I marked in red color, is the Niger and Chad, which are the border traded commodities, cargoes which comes to Nigeria and get exported through Nigeria. As for our team, our estimate cultivation area by hectare in Nigeria this year is 1 million, and the estimated production quantity is around 298,000 tons. This is somewhere 15% less than the previous year. And during the season, there are some of the reasons of less sowing area is because of last season. Most of the other commodities are having a high price, like soybean, sorghum, maize. So there are some of the farmers switched some of the farming areas to other commodities. Then this year, the rainfall was a bit late in some part of the northern Nigeria. This has delayed the cargo sowing and arrival as well. And some areas, the sowing has not at all happened. This year, there's no calamities of pest or other diseases reported. So we are expecting the crop should be healthy. And the quality of the seeds also is expected to be similar like last season. The history of Nigerian exports. We are seeing a consistent rise in quantity of exports volume from Nigeria. When we say Nigeria, it's Nigeria, Niger, and Maiduguri cargo together. Unfortunately, this year we are expecting a drop in the quantity, which will get exported out of Nigeria. We are expecting a 15-20% reduction in the crop. Nigeria moving into value-added sector. Yeah. So over last 2 decades, Nigerian sesame seed production has increased and become the second largest producer of sesame seed in Africa after Sudan. The bigger crop and availability of the cargo throughout the years has helped and increased the scope of expanding the business into more value-added sectors. The hulled cargo, over the last 1 decade, Nigeria is exporting hull, and the acceptance level of a Nigerian hull in the market is increasing. In the last 2-3 years, the acceptance level has gone into a demanding level or a premium level. Yeah, to an extent, the situations in India, Ethiopia situation also pushed the acceptance level to a bigger audience. We can also see the Sortex sesame seed shipments are increasing to a different market, and the Korean, the regular participation in Korean tender itself is a sign of this. In the sesame oil, we have seen investments are happening from different parties in Nigeria. So we are hopefully expecting some sesame seed oil exports, bulk and branded, will happen in the coming years. And the segment is the organic. WACOT is one of our group company which handle the sesame export from Nigeria. We are in the farming for a couple of years, and by end of 2020, we have already got a certificate, organic certification. This is the first time in Nigeria which we have an organic certified sesame seed. Hopefully, we will see more sesame seed, organic sesame seed coming from Nigeria in the coming years. Challenges, most of the year these challenges are there. This year we have a currency devaluation issue, shortage of empty containers. It's not very rampant at this point of time, but we are expecting the situation will be worse now when we get into the real season by November, December. Shipping lines are not giving free days, and shipping lines are reluctant to give the freight rates with forward validity. So they are only giving 1 month, 2 months, 3 months validity with the freight rates. There's an increase in the logistic cost. You take any cost, it's gone up. And port congestion. This is one of the main challenge in Nigeria, which is on both ports, in Lagos port as well as Port Harcourt. The situation is not changed in the so many years, and we are expecting the same situation will be continuing during the peak season. The forward outlook, we have already witnessed increase in prices in the last few months. We have seen the prices have gone up in almost all origins. With the overall shortage in supply in India, China, Nigeria, Sudan, and we are not seeing much deviation in the demand, or we will be expecting more demand coming from Europe and other segments, which the markets are getting open. So the price is likely to remain firm, and we can expect some bullish in the medium to long run. This is our view from the Nigeria. Thank you for the time. If any questions, it's welcome.
Thank you, Sebastian. Stay with us for the questions. We'll get back to you after end of all the presentations. Next, we will have. Do we have Mr. Gailey's presentation ready, or should I go with the next presentation?
Sir, you go ahead. We will inform you when it is ready.
Okay, thank you. So next we'll call upon Mr. Danny Chen from Flavorful Foods. He'll be presenting about the sesame seed situation in China. Danny, over to you. Danny, you need to unmute.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. Can you help me share my presentation slides, please?
Yes. Hold on. 1 second.
Thank you.
Can we have the next presentation, please?
Okay. Okay, so today it's my pleasure to be invited here to share the topic of analysis of China sesame production and market situation. And I believe many speakers already share their information regarding China sesame crops. So I will give you a short overview from our side. Please next slide. Okay, so the review of year 2020, the stage of sesame price increasing in China domestic market since 2020. From last March to early May, actually the demand is very unstable due to the COVID-19 epidemic situation. But from the September to October in last year, China sesame production was reduced more than expected. For the last year, it's around 200,000 tons, and the price of imported sesame seed in Qingdao port and Tianjin port remain at a low level in the past few years. So the stockists, they have a good intention to stockpiling the goods, and the demand of substitution of imported sesame seed against China sesame seed is increasing for the year 2020. And next slide, please. And the export situation, actually, the export business is quite stable and not a main business for China sesame seeds. However, it remains around 45 to 55,000 tons per year. And the main destination is to Korea because of the China-Korea FTA, and also to Germany, Taiwan, Japan, and also other destinations. Okay, please, next. Thank you. And the growth conditions for this year. The planting area of sesame in China decreased from 400,000 hectares last year to around 120,000 hectares in year 2021. However, it was decreased by about 70%, but the sesame production is around 30 to 35% less than last year. So it is estimatedly we think it's around 125,000 to 150,000 around this level. And also because the raining condition for 2020, so the sesame seed quality is not so good. So there is a carryover about 50,000 tons from year 2020 to carryover for 2011. And also the planting area of corn and peanut in the main sesame producing areas was increased significantly this year. And the farmers lack motivation to plant the sesame. So this is also the main factor for the sharp decline in white sesame planting area this year. Next, please. And the import situation from January to August in this year, it already been 840,000 tons. And compare with the same period in 2020, 2020, it was 675,000 tons. And in the year end of last year, it was 1.02 million tons for the total import quantity. So from our point of view, we think that this year, this number can reach 1.1 to 1.2 million tons for year 2021. Okay, next please. Okay, so the factors which will influence the sesame seed market. Okay, so the inflation, the crude oil price, and uncertain exchange rate will influence, and also the shipping time and the lack of shipping space and container, which delays many Nigeria shipments. Actually, it should be arriving the earlier months of 2021, but still it keeps coming to China. And COVID-19 is spreading worldwide. Still, it is a challenge to the China market because China government is thinking if we have a virus starts, then many restaurants has to close or keep a safety situation. Also, China power rationing and the industrial production and operation cuts. So it also will give demand unstable possibility. And also there is 210,000 tons stock of sesame seeds in Qingdao now, not including other ports and other factories warehouse quantity. So it's also a big quantity. And the border of Vietnam and Myanmar were closed due to the epidemic. And so this is the main reason why the import quantity was increasing sharply in Qingdao port. And proactive purchasing from Pakistan sesame seed due to DFT. Actually, it is a very important factor that influencing China market now. Because the Pakistan crop season is very suitable to arrive China before Chinese New Year, and from January to August, there is already 28,000 tons arrive China. And I believe this number didn't include the new crop, only include some of the new crop. So I think in the following months, Pakistan is coming more and more into China, and also the demand for Chinese New Year will be mostly covered. Will be a big portion covered by Pakistan origin. So there is also why the importer hesitating to buy at 1,600 level at right now. The shipment also delayed shipment from Mozambique. I think there is also another reason that because many importers is waiting for Mozambique shipment to arrive China, and also the quantity from Sudan port is unpredictable. So the arrival from these two origins in the following months will also be the factor for China market. Okay, so yeah, next please. Okay, so thank you for inviting, and I hope this conference can be successful and everybody be safe and sound. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Danny. Thanks for the lovely presentation. And next we have Mr. Alok Bhargava from Prarambh Agri DMCC to present about West African sesame other than Nigerian origin. Hello.
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. I'll just share the screen. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Today I will just speak on the Burkina Faso and the allied sesame crop there. First of all, congratulations to Sesame Info.in. That's a very good conference they have organized, and I wish all the participants and the members all the best for the coming season. What we have covered in this presentation is the 2021, what happened basically in relates to Burkina Faso and related countries, West Africans countries which are producing sesame seed. Overall view, what are the trends, if there is any carryover or the future scenario. Africa, other than Nigeria, we have Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, Togo, Senegal, and little bit of Guinea-Bissau, who produces sesame seed. And when we talk about Burkina Faso and allied countries, we talk about Burkina, Mali, Togo, and Senegal mainly. We have both whitish and mixed type sesame seed available there. Main markets, if we talk, we have China and Japan for that, and a small amount of sesame seed goes to Turkey as well. And Burkina officially is DFT, but still not very much active, and people are still shipping either as Mali or as a Togo region. Crop, very little started down there, and we hope in November we will see the full-fledged arrival to start arriving. This is just the last year and this year production estimates for Burkina Faso. And when you look into the China slide, this China slide I have included just to mention that if you see the after Niger or after Niger, the highest import, if you combine Togo and Mali, which is around 196,000 metric tons, so it will become a second imports to China. So Burkina Faso definitely plays important role as far as the China is concerned, and even the Japan is concerned. When you look at the Burkina Faso country as such, the Burkina Faso, the season in full-fledged will start from November. Very small quantities arriving, which is not worth mentioning actually. It's just in kilos, which is arriving just now. Crop expected to be stable. I mean, the good as far as compared with the last year, it should be almost the same. Harvesting, as I said, has started in some of the area, but the arrival has still to pick up. Crop size we expect to around 210,000 metric ton, and both whitish and mixed type is sesame seed is available down there. Initial asking price indications going on was on the high side. It has opened with 690-700, but obviously this price level will change as the arrival will begin, because this is the price without the stock being offered there. Logistic issue, we fear it is going to come there as we have in the neighboring Nigeria. We have logistic as a big issue. Not only that, we have seen logistic issue in Mozambique this year, and Tanzania in the later, not in the season time, but in the later stage, we have seen that. Old crop, we have almost finished at the origin. There was some remaining, but when the market started going up, most of the people have bought the old stock. So we expect there is no carryover at present, and whatever now in November when the season is started should have the new crop only. When you look from the demand point of view, I will just cover only Burkina Faso down here as far as demand is concerned. The Japanese, they have a buying position of December, January onwards only. And their demand obviously will come because there is the big logistic issue still continuing in Nigeria. We have seen logistic issue going on for the last 2 years, but this year is the worst, with all the remaining origin also joining in logistic problems. Price range we have seen in Japan from 1250 to 1570 currently, and imported their quantity is expected to be 180,000 plus. They have import quantity of 200,000 last year, but on an average 160 to 180,000 is their normal imports. China, we have stock 210, as we have seen in other presentation as well. They were having a highest stock of 300K. And but as you have seen that Niger and Burkina, as far as China 2021 and China is concerned, they have replaced Ethiopia and Sudan as a main supplier, primarily because there is a difficulty in shipping out Sudan, and we have seen reduction in crop in Ethiopia and Sudan. So the share of import has been taken over by Niger as well as with the Burkina. Imported quantity already has crossed 800K, and as we are expecting, if all the cargo of Mozambique start shipping out and Nigeria gets shipping in this year, then we will see it may cross 1 million ton. Turkey doesn't buy a lot of cargo from Burkina. Their main buying country remains Nigeria. And they have not bought down a larger quantity in the previous 2021 because of the lockdown. They have an impact. Schools were closed and all the offices were closed. So it has impacted their small seed demand. When we talk about the future direction of the market, of course, as usual, the future prices depends on how the demand and how China digests the higher prices from the market. Then logistic remains a major concern. And if the rollover of the vessel and the container shortage and the increase in the freight continues in West Africa, we might see some more fuel to be added in the Sesame market. Then currency fluctuations is a major issue, especially as far as Nigeria is concerned. We have seen the currency being depreciated, but as far as the destinations are concerned, we have seen the Indian currency depreciated, but the Chinese currency appreciated. So currency definitely will play a role in the future of the market. Then we have seen reduced buying power, but when you look at the figures, the import figures have not changed in any of the importing country. But when you talk with the buyers, you have a feeling that at a higher prices, every buyer has become more conscious and more calculative as far as their stocks are, as far as their purchases are concerned. And one more observation which I would like to highlight here is that all regions we have seen they are all firm and adamant on their prices after Corona time. This psychology has definitely changed. We have seen this in Tanzania, we have seen this in Mozambique, and now we are seeing in Nigeria and in Burkina, though the season is yet to start. We have seen this, that farmers or the traders, they are not willing to reduce the price even if there is a delay in buying. They don't care. That's all from my side. So this is just a disclaimer. Thank you. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Alok. What an insight into the West African crop. Thank you. Next, we will have a presentation from Monique. He'll be presenting Indian Sesame scenario. He's from Anand Agro Commodities. Monique, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep.
Yeah, please, Monique.
First of all, I would like to thank World Sesame Conference. I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, audible.
First of all, I would like to thank World Sesame Conference to allowing me to give the presentation on Indian scenario. I'll be presenting the World Sesame, the Indian Sesame crop scenario 2021 for the Kharif season. I'll be sharing state-wise detailed presentation on area of sowing, damages, yield and production of the following states like Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Then I'll be giving you a graphical presentation about the scenario of what it had happened in India since last 3 months as far as the rains are concerned and the production and the crop is concerned. Then I'll give you some data about area of sowing, what are the damages, what we are expecting, number of yield, what we are expecting from this season, and the production figures. And then afterwards, at the last, I'll be sharing some videos and photographs which we had taken up from the field, and it will be of a. So we covered approximately 4,000 kilometers in 10 days to cover all the 4 states and conclude our survey for the Sesame Seeds 2021. First of all, I would like to share the details about Rajasthan. This is the graphical presentation of what had happened in Rajasthan since the sowing started. I hope you have been able to see the clear video and the audio in it. Right, Sandeep?
Yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
went on.
Yeah.
Next. Carry on.
So the overall sowing for Rajasthan, it was really good as compared to last year. But then the major concern was untimely rains and long dry spells, which had impacted the crop scenario overall. Mainly the Western Rajasthan, where black and brown sesame seed is grown with intercropping with green moong. White sesame seed in eastern and western Rajasthan is really good in shape, but then again due to untimely rains and sometimes with the heavy rains, the yield loss due to untimely rains. Harvesting was done early in the fear of rains and winter sowing in eastern region. The major concern what we see at this point of time in the eastern region was farmers have started harvesting sesame earlier because they were having fears of rain coming in, and they wanted to plant their new crop for the winter, which is rapeseed. So it was harvested very green in color, and we are expecting some quality damage due to that. So the total area, according to Government of India, is around 284,800 hectares. Out of that, approximately damaged area would be somewhere around 25%. So the actual area after considering damage will be around 213,600. The average yield we had taken for the last 4 years as per our expectation and as per the figures what we got from the trades, that was around 400 kgs normally for the Rajasthan, but the yield loss this year due to untimely rains is around 100 kgs. So actual yield we will be getting is around 300 kgs. And the production estimated this year for 2021 from the state of Rajasthan is around 64,080 metric tons. And we will now play a video wherein you will be able to see the actual videos of the field which we had taken from the Rajasthan. Sorry. Now, as you can see, the plantations are quite good. The flowering stage is quite good. But the biggest problem, what we saw was the waters in the field. And this was somewhere around in the second half of September when we visited the fields. And you can see the complete field is wet and with water. So that was the biggest concern what we have seen throughout India this year. Wherein the plantations are good, the crop is good, the yield might have got better, but the rains have really damaged the scenario. Now the farmers were also taking care of their crop because they are more concerned, maybe even more concerned, even not like us, but then they were trying to cover it with some tarpaulins or some plastics. But then also, as we see, when we were traveling in this area, there were daily rains happening, and it was a little bit damaging the crop everywhere. Now we can even see one lady just taking out the seeds out of the plant, which is the normal practice what we follow in India to get the seeds out from the plant. Now you see the height of the plant in the same field is quite variable in both the hips, because this is what I was talking, the untimely rains. Sometimes it was raining very heavily, sometimes it was not. And the barren land which you can see in the surroundings shows us the result that farmers were more keen to grow other crop for the winter season, like rapeseed and things like that. So now we'll talk about Uttar Pradesh. We need to understand that scenario one, the whole field is completely washed out, and that was the actual scene what had been in the past due to heavy rains. So Uttar Pradesh again had very heavy rains in the early stage, which has drastically reduced the area wherein farmers have done the sowing, but as we have seen in the scenario one, the complete fields have been washed away in the initial stage, and due to heavy rain also the germination of the seeds was not being done, and the grass was just coming out of the fields. So germination had a problem in Uttar Pradesh. And normally we see that if anything happening in the initial stage of the sowing, farmer normally do the resowing for sesame seed, but this was not the case this year because the prices of rapeseed were too high, and farmer instead of doing resowing opted to wait for the next season to come and do the sowing of rapeseed. Impact on yield and production was heavily seen on the areas of Uttar Pradesh. And the main problem what we saw was farmers are not taking proper care of their field and crop. Like we have seen plenty of fields wherein farmers have just done the sowing and they are not taking care in terms of when the grass is coming out after heavy rains. They are not even bothering to go and clear their fields and taking out that grass. So if they are not taking out that grass from the field, yield is supposed to be impacted due to that. The major reason for area of sowing was even a little bit lower than last year was the conversion to other crops, mainly to groundnut. And mostly from the 70% of the farmers we have interviewed, we came to know that from next year they will reduce the sowing of sesame seed and they will maybe convert to other cash crops like groundnut or maybe soya bean or cotton, wherein they are getting good amount of money. According to Government of India, area in hectares for Uttar Pradesh was somewhere around 4,500,000 hectares. Expected damage, what we saw and what we interviewed the farmers and came to know was around 50%. So actual area after considering damage will be 250 hectares. Average yield for last 5 years in Uttar Pradesh is around 250 kgs. Yield loss this year would be somewhere around 80 kgs. So the actual yield for 2021 will be around 170 kgs, which will come to around the estimated production of around 34,042 metric tons. Now we'll see the video of some photographs so that we'll have a clear idea about the scenario in Uttar Pradesh. As I said, we can see the grass coming out in the field besides the plant, and it is going to hamper its yield and everything. You can see also the size of the plant. It's too small. The pod formations are not that much. The quality is also impacted due to heavy rains. We can see more number of light seeds and other color seeds, which is going to hamper the overall quality of Uttar Pradesh this season. Now we'll move to Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Pradesh also had very heavy rainfalls in the early stage and the later stage, which has literally damaged the production of sesame seeds this year. Overall, sowing was also weak. The resowing was not done. As I said, farmers were more keen to plant the rapeseed for the next season. The impact on yield and production was due to untimely rains and very heavy rains in regular intervals. Farmers are not taking even the care in Madhya Pradesh also, wherein the grass and is growing around the plants very oftenly. Even in Madhya Pradesh, farmers have done the conversion to groundnut this year due to the price rise in groundnut for the last season. And the damage is what they are seeing since last 2-3 years for sesame seed. And the next year production will also decrease due to this scenario, wherein farmers will go to another crops. The area for Madhya Pradesh as per Government of India was around 3,23,000 hectares. Again, the damage in Madhya Pradesh also is somewhere around 50%. The actual area after considering damage is 1,61,500. Average yield for last 5 years is approximately 250 kgs. Yield loss expected for 2021 is 80 kgs. Actual yield for 2021 per hectare is around 170 kgs, which comes to estimated production for 2021 is 27,455 metric tons in Madhya Pradesh. Now we'll see some field photos. We can see the size of the plant. It's almost 2.5 to 3 feet maximum, wherein we can see the pod formation is only maybe in 1 feet or 1.5 feet of the size. In this field, maximum of the Madhya Pradesh farmers were a little bit worried about the rain, so they tried to get their plant dried in the farms itself, and then they started the harvesting. Due to that, I think there will be a yield loss also. The quality was a little bit good as compared to Uttar Pradesh, but then the area has been drastically gone down due to heavy rains and untimely rains. Now we talk about Gujarat. Gujarat has something little bit of different stories than all other 3 states. Sowing started early. There were little bit of good rains in the earlier stage. but in the middle, from 15 July to 30th August, almost one and a half months time, there was no rains. So the growth of the plant was very less at that point of time. And then afterwards, at the end, it rained heavily and it completely damaged all the crop which was there in Gujarat. So sowing was less as compared to last year because Gujarat farmers have completely diverted themselves to groundnut because Gujarat is supposed to be one of the biggest states who produce groundnut in India. There were long dry spells, as I said, almost one and a half months. There were no rains completely. And there was a situation where in Gujarat we were thinking of a drought. But then at the end, maybe somewhere around September, it rained very heavily. And it completely damaged the crop. Until August, it was very good. The crop was looking good because sesame is supposed to be a crop with less of a water. But then in September, everything got disturbed. Standing crop got damaged, heavy loss in yield and production, and damage in quality is also expected. As I said, once the plants were ready, and at that point of time only it rained very heavily. We can see in the next slide the pictures. So first of all, I will just share the area. The government of India says the area of sowing is somewhere around 100 hectares. Damage of area is around 30%. So actual area after considering damage is 70,070 hectares. Average yield for Gujarat in last 5 years is 500 kgs. Total yield loss is expected to be around 250 kgs. Actual yield for 2021 will be somewhere around 250 kgs. So estimated production for Gujarat will be somewhere around 17,517 metric tons. So now we can see the fields wherein completely it is waterlogging. Now we can see in this plant the fungus which has developed due to heavy rain on the pods. The quality is comparatively very damaged. The rain damaged seeds are more. The plants got dried due to heavy rain, heavy waterlogging in the fields. And this was the scenario like almost maybe 30 to 40% of the area in Gujarat. We can see the plants, it's completely black and it is completely with fungus. So now we come to total production. As I said, Rajasthan, UP, MP, Gujarat all together for India this year would be somewhere around 1,43,095 metric tons. And if we consider other states like Bihar, Jharkhand and Haryana, it will consist about 13,332. So total production for this year for India would be somewhere around 1,56,427 metric tons, which is drastically low as compared to last maybe 3 or 5 years of average. Thanks. Myself, Monik Vora from Anand Agro Commodities in association with Girish Nemad from ETG India. We had conducted this survey and I hope I have able to give you the proper view about the Indian scenario. Thank you. Up to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Monik. Thank you so much. In a lovely cartoon movie also, along with your presentation to show us what different states in India are doing. Next, I would request if the team can start with the Sudanese presentation. I think we are ready with that.
First of all, I would like to thank very much Sesame Information's chairman and his staff for giving me this opportunity to speak on Sudan Sesame scenario this year. If we see the introductions of these papers, Sudan this year is having impact by many factors which include political and economic change, fuel shortage, currency fluctuations and floatings, and local prices changes. Status of Port Sudan port is witnessing several decline in containers and several reasons in which the global container shortage crisis, beside COVID-19's pandemics and additions, many issues like container handling problems at Port Sudan. These tables showing the declines of the containers coming to Port Sudan during the years 2017, 2018. The total number was 487,336 container in 17, while the totals in 19 decreased to 451,712 containers in 18, which is clear declining. The sesame exported during the seasons 2019-2021 by US dollars and metric tons. Total of metric ton exported on 12/19 was 586,892.50 tons, whilst the total on 2020 was 697,409.6, while the totals up to June is 234,878. This diagram showing the biggest importers of Sudan's sesame during the seasons 2020, durations of January up to September. So the largest is China, is getting like 37% of Sudan's. Then comes Egypt. Egypt is taking about 14%. Then comes India. India is taking about 11%. Then Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is taking 9% of Sudan's export. Then Turkish is taking like 4%. And then comes Lebanon, Syria, UAE, Jordan, Tunisia, and Greece. This page showing sesame imported by the major countries during the period of 2020 from January up to September. As we see, the biggest importer from Sudan is China. Number of China in the seasons 2020 was 910,000 dollars, while on the seasons 2019 it was 139,044. We noticed the increase, big increase by 59%, while in Egypt also was having increase by 1%, 75. And then when we come to India, we notice that there is a decrease in importing by 23.6%. When we come to Saudi Arabia, there is an increase by 10.6% in import. And then Turkish, this is one of the biggest increase, 24.35. Then comes Lebanon's 23.62. Then we come to Syria, which was the biggest increase in these years, 25.52. And then UAE, Jordan, Tunisia, and this map showing the cultivated area by state these seasons. So Gadarif state was 750,000. White Nile state was 2,050,000. Kordofan was 3,375,900. Darfur 1,490,600. Then Sinar is 1,122,000 fadans. Then Blue Nile is 528,000 fadan, and then other state is 85,000 fadans. Total. This showing the flow of sesame to the famous market in Sudan, which is Gadarif. In the years 2019, it was 285 ton, while in 2020 it was 94,680. We decrease. There is a decrease of about 20%. And then on the years, this year's 2021, we noticed that the data available with us is up to August. Total definitely is less than both years 2019. This diagram for the same flowing of the Gadarif sesame. This page showing sesame exported to China during the seasons 2019, 2020, and this season, last season. On the seasons 2019, the total was 171,130 tons, while in 2020 the number increased to 231,131 ton. Then data available in this 2020 for us is 55,556 tons. These diagrams showing the same export of sesame to China. For this scenario of these years, the total cultivated area is 9,635,390 fadans, and expectation of the productions 750,000 metric ton, while there is 220,000 local consumptions, and carried forward is about 70,000 metric tons. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that I give you a useful.
That was Mr. Gailey's presentation. I think he can join us for certain reason. So next we have a presentation from Mr. Mahesh Raja Maglani, Mast Kalandar. He'll be presenting on the Pakistan sesame. Mahesh, voice is clear.
Hello.
Yes, Mahesh, we can hear you. Please go.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, namaste. I will be presenting the Pakistan sesame crop and market overview. Thank you to the organizers. Thank you, Sandeep ji. So we will be moving. We are one of the leading exporters from Pakistan of sesame seeds, and we do have facilities in Karachi for rice, sesame, and pulses. In 2020, the crop estimated was around 115 to 125,000 tons. The Punjab nearly produced 85% of the crop, whereas Sindh had only 15% of the crop. And the acreage in Sindh was very good, around 460 per acre yield. And in hybrid in Punjab, the yield was around 240 kgs per acre. Due to rain in the month of August and September, the almost 15% crop was damaged, for which the buyers complained, especially the quality of farmi, which had high FFA, and buyers complained for this quality, and they were quite unhappy with this. So in the year 2021, last year, the total crop was around 125,000 tons, as I told. The main exports were to China, which was around 50%, and rest 30% was to Europe, Vietnam, Taiwan, and other different countries, which was around 55,000 metric tons. The border trade was around 31,400. Locally consumed crop was around 16,500, and 15% crop was damaged, which is around 12,000 tons. The closing stock and carry forward into 2021 to 2022 would be around 10,100 tons. So in this season, almost 80% crop is harvested. So, and around 100,000 to 110,000 to 120,000 tons crop is expected to be in Pakistan and in Sindh and Punjab regions. Almost 80% crop is harvested, and 80% crop is from Punjab and 20% is from Sindh. From Sindh, the crop is being harvested and arrivals have started since last 2 weeks. Punjab is almost harvested. The yield is same and similar to the last year. And this year, the hybrid was arrived earlier than the farmi, and the shipments started from the beginning of the August to China. And the quality already arrived there. The buyers are quite happy with the quality and the color, and the farm is way better than the hybrid, and the Sindh is way better than the hybrid. So the main reason for the market going up is the currency depreciation. The USD is being appreciated every day, and which is driving the market up. Sorry, yeah. So this year, the carry forward is around 110,000 tons. The estimated crop is 120,000 tons. So far, the exports in only 2 months from Pakistan, which is a record high, is around 27,000 tons. The border trade, which is indicated, would be around 25,000 tons, and the small quantities have already been traded from Pakistan to Iran and Afghanistan. And the local consumption would be lower than the last year, would be around 18,000 because of the higher prices. So balanced stock, we have very much left. It is very much less. And we see the prices scenario, which will be driving the market. So in Pakistan, the local prices are on the upward trend, as you can see, and it has reached almost the highest levels, but the traders and the farmers are quite firm that the prices may increase further. So they are very reluctant and not selling the cargo in huge quantities. Many Pakistani exporters did quite short sales prior to harvesting, which resulted in the local price going up and created panic buying locally. And the main reason in the sudden increase is because of the huge demand and aggressive demand from China since the harvesting. Many, as I said earlier, many local sellers and exporters are not interested to sell in bulk quantities at low levels. The unstoppable demand from China will drive market further. And farmers, traders, stockists are optimistic and holding cargo for the better prices. We don't see local sales coming like it was coming since last few months or in the starting of the harvest. This year, due to higher price, local consumption and border trade would be very low. Main reason sesame seed is being exported in the crop may end very soon. From idea out to be around December or January, late January maximum. And if the crop remains and the market remains same. Also this year, the government policies and COVID-19 challenges are very easy. Things have been normalizing. So we don't see any further difficulties in the exports apart from higher sea freights, vessels are skipping and high oil prices. Containers availability is okay. If you pay the higher freight, you can get the containers easily. The less transit time is making Pakistan the most favorable market in China, and we see huge demand coming every year. And we believe the farmers in Pakistan will increase more harvesting of sesame seeds and sowing of sesame seeds in different regions, whether it's Punjab or Sindh. And the sesame seed quality is very well accepted by all our Chinese friends, and we thank you them for making the quality of Pakistan very famous in China and branding within China. We are very thankful to them, and we see very good demand coming in near future from China. Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending virtual conference. Looking forward to see you next year. Thank you organizers. Thank you Sandeep ji.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you so much for presenting the Pakistan Sesame scenario. Next, can we have Miss Camilla Lenders from Corepa Brokers, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Camilla.
Hello.
Can you speak a little louder, Camilla?
Okay, let me put the presentation. Okay, everybody can see or no?
No. Yeah.
No? Okay.
Now is okay. Please go ahead.
Now is okay, right. It's a pleasure to be here with connect with people around the world in more than 60 countries. And a pleasure to be here to bring some information regarding Brazilian sesame from Brazil. The current scenario from Brazil now is a strong expansion of the production of cane. So we have now investments inside the companies to improve the quality. If we can go to Sesame area in Brazil, we can see inside the factories machines to improve the quality of sesame, to clean process, etc. And also we have new companies coming to work with Brazilian sesame in Brazil. Now the crop 2021 is 100% harvest, and we have some stocks here in Brazil still. We have demand to Brazilian sesame also. We have more growers interested to know about sesame, to learn about the cycle of plant and the expansion to sesame seeds to new areas, right? So, but what is the quantity exported of Brazilian sesame in 2021? So, if we can go to government data, we can see total until September exported by Brazil, 25,000 tons. But what happened is that around 70,000 were crop 2020. And just from July, August, and September, we have the quantity exported for crop 2021 is around 7,200. So this is the quantity exported until now, 7,200. But who is buying sesame from Brazil? As we can see, we have Turkey, Guatemala, India, and Israel, right? Italy, also Jordan, they are buying sesame. We have every day inquiries and requests by Brazilian sesame. But still, if this is important that I bring here, we have crop 2020 and crop 2021. If you compare the area planted with both years, we can see is 18% less the area planted. But and also the productivity of the plant is the main point here. So the productivity this year, 2021 was less 28% because this year we had lack of rain in important plant cycle, and we have because in Brazil what happened is Sesame area compete with corn land. Corn have more attractive prices and more demand, but we still have the estimated production of 5,000-6,000 tons. And they will expect export around 5,000 tons of sesame this year, but only 10% of sesame from Brazil go to Brazil domestic market because we don't have culture to eat sesame or tahini, etc. Only 10% go to Brazil domestic market. But what is the perspectives to Brazilian sesame crop 2022? We have an expansion to sesame to new states. For example, the main state of Brazilian sesame is Mato Grosso, but we are expanding to another states, for example, Bahia or Pará, etc. But expansion can happen, but it depends the international price too. In Brazil, the sesame is planted after soybeans crop. Another perspective from Brazil in sesame is increase market share in the international market. For example, do sales to new countries in Europe. We are receiving good feedback from Europe countries regarding Brazilian sesame. After pandemic of COVID-19, we have the recovering of economies, right? Is around the world, we will expect this. Promote the Brazilian sesame to new countries is another perspective to Brazilian sesame. But we still next year to crop 2022, sesame will compete with corn area due with prices, and the corn is more attractive and have more demand if we compare with sesame. We will still have the perspective 2022 logistic problems like of lack of containers, for example, high prices of freight will continue to first semester of 2022. But what is the challenges to Brazilian sesame on 2022? Increase the productivity. How increase the productivity to Anaí variety? As studies from government before promised Anaí productivity around 1,600 kilos, but in 2020 was in some areas 220. One part of this we have the answer was lack of rains in the important cycle of the plant, right? The second challenge that we can see here is how to increase the productivity of sesame varieties of like K3. Most of Brazilian sesame is K3 variety. So productivity can be around 600 and 1,000. But now on 2021 was around 300. In 2025 the productivity of Quatri was around 395 kilos. And another point in challenging to 2020 next crop is how increase the black sesame productivity. Brazil produce still less quantity of black sesame. Still, the next point, the next challenge that Brazil trying and fighting is bilateral agreement with China, as Brazil does not export directly to China until now. And the most point here that I feel and I see a high cost of fertilizer. And with high cost of fertilizer, will push the price up. Thank you, everybody. To be here is a pleasure.
Thank you, Ms. Camila. Next, we have Mr. Gilberto from Dulsan Organica SA, presenting Peregrine Sesame scenario. Mr. Gilberto.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, very well. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Thanks to organization for giving me this opportunity to share Paraguay's situation in sesame business. And I have a pleasure to stay in this group and take this meeting. CAPEXE is a group of the main major exporter companies in Paraguay. We are 7 partners in this group, and you can see our partners' logos in the presentation. Okay, following, I will make my presentation. Production characteristics in Paraguay. Sesame edible grade is produced entirely by family farming on small farms with artisanal management. 98% is produced in the eastern region of the country. These small farmers have more or less 20 hectares. They make all the maker is handling maker. Also, our product is highly appreciated for taste and food safety and high social impact. This product have high social impact because we have around 30,000 farmers working in this edible grade type. As for the sesame industry grade, is produced entirely in the Paraguayan Chaco region. This is mechanized handling in extensive properties. Extensive farm, these have more or less 100 hectares. Also have excellent grind qualities. Average FFA in last years, less than 1%. We have great potential for expansion in planting area of both varieties. Okay, production characteristics in Paraguay. The sowing season starts in September and go to December for each year. And the harvest season go from January to May of the next year. As edible varieties, we have K2, HH1, Escoba, and Negro. This is black sesame. Industry varieties, we have mechanized handling. One moment, please. Okay. Regarding industry varieties, we have mechanized handling. The varieties are F11, IP10, and K3. The yield potential of our sesame is 1,200 kilograms per hectare. And the average yield go from 550 to 700 kilograms per hectare. Adverse climatic factor, droughts and extensive rainfall. Just this. Regarding result of 2020, the sowing area was planting on 2019. This was 82,000 hectares. Edible grade 60%, white and black, and industry grade 40%. Total production harvested in 2020 was 45,000 metric tons. Average yield was 550 kilograms per hectare. Total exported on 2020 was 41,864 metric tons. And the main market on 2020 was Japan, Mexico, Europe countries, no? And other countries, more than 20 countries are buying our sesame on the last 3 years, more or less. You can see in the graphic, 45% is buyer for Japan, 27% by Mexico. Japan is buyer 100% of edible grade, and Mexico 95% of industry grade. And the Europe 12%, and other country 16%. Regarding the result of 2021, the sowing area in 2020 was 82,500 hectares, edible grade again 60%, and industry grade 40%. Total production harvested on 2021 was similar to previous year, and collecting data at this moment. And sesame total production harvested on this year was exported at September of 2021 of this year was 31,127 metric tons. And the main markets, Japan, Mexico, Europe again, and others, more than 20 countries. You can see on this graphic the big increase of the quota of Europe. Europe buy more aggressive this year from our country. Okay. Following, regarding projection in our country, looking for the last 5 years, we can say that growing trend of production and export for the next few years. Increase in the preference of main markets for quality, trust of the main markets also. And we have high diversification of destination. In the graphic is current year with pending export. Threats. Regarding threats, we can say that climatic factor, every year less predictable, El Nino and La Nina, and logistical factors, world and regional, for being a Mediterranean country. We depend of a principal river to go to principal ocean port. And also one threat at this moment is soybean increasing sowing area. And other consideration, the cost increase in the level cost of the production of sesame edible grade farmers. And better price should be offered to farmers. We have great expansion opportunity for sesame crop. And also, I want to say that high investment in industry to trade hullet, sesame seed, and tahini of excellent quality are making in our country at this moment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilberto. I think with this, we come to an end to our session with all the presentation being given. Now we can take questions from the audience. If they have, they can put it in the chat. And I would request all the presenters to switch on their videos and unmute themselves so that, we can quickly go ahead with the question answers. The first question I have for Mr. Sebastian. Sebastian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sebastian, we have seen this year the offers from Nigeria drying up. I mean, normally by now, this time, we always trade a lot of cargo. So what is the reason behind that?
One of the reasons, the cargo flow is less than normally is. As we are expecting, that's one of the reasons. It is very clear there is a shortage in the Nigerian crop. So the cargo flow in the market is less. Secondly, the overall mindset and the views of the local traders as well as the exporters it's a bullish situation. So no matter what the price comes in the market, cargo is just grabbed by any one of the exporters. And even when the exporters finding it difficult, they try to stop the price movement, but and they're trying to keep away from the market for a couple of days. But the local farmers and the suppliers are not in the mood to reduce any kind of price. So that's the current scenario. That's why you can see at the very early stage, itself the Nigerian prices have moved up so drastically high. Okay. And nowadays the information flows very fast. It's not like previous years. The issues in Sudan, issues in any part of the world, it's reaches in a few seconds to all part of the trade segment. So that's the reason the prices are high.
One more question again for Sebastian is today is 26th of October. For example, if we order today, by when do you think the cargo can be on board?
The cargo can be on board in November or December. So ideally, the exporters will be offering November, December shipments because the shipment time.
Realistically speaking, what I mean is realistically,
realistically, the shippers will sell with the November, December shipments because things are not in their hand, and we are in the beginning of the season. So potentially, end of November, shipment can happen. but it can go to December also. So ideally, people will sell November, December shipments. So you can expect more shipments happens in December than November.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. We'll come back if there is anything else. Thank you, Sebastian.
Yeah, sure.
Next is for Mr. Danny Chen. Danny, in your presentation, you mentioned that the planting area in China is reduced about 70%, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Whereas the production has only gone down by 30%. I mean,
yes.
Can you tell us the reason?
According to the data, the average hectare, the yield is better.
Oh, so much better.
Compared to last year, because last year the raining actually has a damage to the crop. So
okay.
Compared with last year, yes.
Perfect. Okay. Secondly, we wanted to know, since China export, as you said, about 40 to 50,000 tons of sesame, which is predominantly whitish or hulled sesame, right?
Yes, whitish and hulled sesame. Yes.
Yeah. So when we talk about whitish, how is the quality this year? Because that is what is exported out of China.
This year, you mean the China crop quality?
Yes. It's whitish, only the whitish sesame.
Actually, China always export exporting best quality to overseas country. Yes, and this year the quality is okay, not so damaged by the weather. Yes.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Danny. Next, we have a question for Alok. Alok, as we see in your presentation, I mean, the last 8 months, I think import into China is 210. I mean, if I am not wrong, 210,000 metric tons from Burkina, Mali, Togo. Does that mean the crop figure could be much higher than?
No, it is the total is about 195,000 metric ton. But this year, last year, China was paying more than what Japan was paying. So I think that even if you add, Japan figure, it will not exceed more than 220 to 225. It cannot.
Okay. So still, even after that, it is okay. Second question, Alok, again for you. In this region, since we see a lot of whitish sesame coming, so do we see new factories for making edible grade that is Sortex quality, number one, and hulling?
Sortex quality, yes. More and more people are going for the Sortex machine primarily because they have target Korean tenders as well, and plus the Chinese market. So Sortex, yes. As far as hull is concerned, I have not heard anybody planning for hulled sesame seed as yet in Burkina.
Okay. Thank you, Alok. Next, we have a question from Monique. Monique, you mentioned in your presentation the Indian crop to be about 150,000, roughly. So we want to know if you could bifurcate between white, black, and brownish. Tentative, just an idea.
Just an idea, if I can give, is white would be somewhere around 80% of this figure, and 20% would be brown, black. We can consider it 20% of the total figure. Because if we want to bifurcate, the pure black comes mainly into the Gujarat, which this year we are expecting very less crop. But then in Rajasthan, we can normally see that crop which is coming as a mix, that is like black, brown, black, everything together. So we cannot bifurcate exactly about that figure, but then 80% is whitish and 20% would be black, brown, black sesame seed.
Okay. And one more thing, Monique, we have known the damage in India for almost 3 weeks. That Indian crop was damaged due to unforeseeable rain conditions, and we have seen prices in Africa moving up, but Indian prices are quite stable. Any justification?
There are mainly two reasons for this. What I consider is the damage which is we are seeing since last 2.5 months So the price increase from that point of time, from most probably end of July till September, has already came. So in the local prices, India was trading somewhere around 80 rupees a kg for 99.1 in the month of July, which increased to 100 rupees a kg in the month of September. So that price rise has actually discounted in all these months due to what the weather was impacting the crop. One reason is that, and the second reason I think is the demand what we are lacking, wherein the demand from the local market, what we are expecting, the retail demand will come in, it is not coming in, as well as the demand for hull sesame seed, as well as demand for the natural sesame seed from the world market is not coming in. So the price rise has already been discounted in these 2-3 months. And now if fresh demands comes in, then only we can see a good price rise in the Indian prices.
Any indication on the carryover stock from summer crop?
Summer crop as well as a little bit from maybe Kharif last season. Total, according to my observation, is somewhere around 70,000 to 80,000 tons is the carry forward stock India is having as of now.
Okay, thank you, Monique, as of now. Mahesh ji, next question is for you. In your presentation, you mentioned that about 50% of the crop has been, exported to China, border trade, or local consumption. You still have 50% available. Still, we have seen prices in Pakistan go up from $1,150, $1,200 to $1,600. What is the reason for that?
Well, as I mentioned, the main reason for the prices going up, it was just because of the panic buying, whether it was from the exporters in Pakistan or the importers residing in China. This was the only reason. Apart from that, the currency in Pakistan, the USD is appreciating every day. When the sesame seed season started, at the time, the US dollar was around 161, 162, and today it is around more or less 175 per dollar, 1 rupee. So the prices are increasing more, the stock is very less, and those people who are holding the stock, they do not prefer to sell stock, and they're waiting for the prices to go further, because since last few days, again, the China was quiet last week, but again, when the prices started rising in China, and they've started inquiring against in the last few days, and we believe the market will go up again. The exporters did short sales before the season started harvesting. I think that was a bad decision which our exporters did, and because of that reason, they started buying aggressively locally as well.
Okay. And, if you could throw light on hulling capacity, how many hulling factories do you have in Pakistan at the moment?
Well, the hulling demand just comes from Europe for Pakistan, and we have around 5 or 6 hulling factories in Karachi and Punjab, and when the rest goes to local, more quantity goes to local bakeries and another departments and stores. The hull sesame seed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Camilla, you mentioned that this year there was some issue with the harvest, and we wanted to know was there any effect on the quality in particular this year because of the weather conditions?
Yes, well, what happened is the quality was not affected, but due to lack of rains, the productivity of the plant reduced. This is what happened because rains are very important in the exact moment, in the exactly cycle of the plant. So what happened this year was lack of rains, important cycle of the plant.
Okay. And any idea on a freight, for example, from Brazil to Turkey or India?
Yes.
Just for the idea of the audience.
Yes, the freight was before, for example, if we compare 2-3 months or 4 months before, freight from Brazil to Turkey was 1,600 and now more than 2,000. And the freight prices will impact a lot in the prices of the sesame seeds.
2,000 is per container, right? 20 feet container?
No, the quantity exported, you mean, or?
No. I mean the freight rate you mentioned, 2,000 is for a 20 feet container.
The 40 container.
Freight. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. And I think with this we have one question. Tarun. Tarun, this is for you. Tarun, we have seen prices in West Africa, Nigeria, and special Burkina prices to be all 1650 plus levels. What do you see in the next 3 months happen?
Well, again, it's crystal ball type of theory where we hope we can predict the future. But I'll just point the few things which I've covered in the presentation as well. See, these are very higher price levels. 1,600 to 1,800 is we've always seen has not sustained for a very long period. Sesame and other oilseeds, we have issues with substitution and demand not actually panning out to those levels which we see. See, at $1,200 to $1,300, we can see China consuming 1 million tons in imported sesame seeds. But at $1,800 or $1,600 to $1,800 range, will still be 1 million ton demand. I have my doubts on that. So we believe that the prices should cool down a bit. But yes, will they go to those 1,200 to 1,400 range? Most likely, but yes, we should be on a higher price range, somewhere sustaining between 1,400 to 1,600 levels.
Okay. Thank you, Tarun. And I think we have a question for Mr. Gilberto. Mr. Gilberto, we have heard Paraguay ships a lot of organic sesame as well. Can you tell us in your export figure that you mentioned, what percentile of that is organic?
Yes, Paraguay is recognized by maker of organic production because we work with a lot of quantity of small farmer, more than 30,000 small farmer making all production hand maker, and the use of the chemical and pesticide is very low. And also we are working with government to control the use of pesticide in the production of sesame. And around 5 or 6 years, we had some problems with pesticide appear, but from this moment, we have made many changes and working to recuperate the good varieties, and also we receive some help from government and JICA, Japan government, also with expert working in our country to guarantee our organic production.
Okay. I think with this we come to a wrap to this question answer session. And in our trade, sesame trade, we always have two uncertainties called the currency and the climate. Now we have containers and COVID as well. So these are the 4 C's to stay with for probably another year or so, hopefully. And Srivastava, if you may join in, if any questions I have missed from anyone, Srivastava. I think we have a question for Mr. Sise. Mr. Sise, in your presentation, you said 2 things. One is that your crop figure is about 350,000, and some of your colleagues said that it was 150,000. So what was the basis of these 2 figures? Mr. Sese, your computer is mute. Can you just unmute it?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
I said in your presentation you said you mentioned two figures about the crop in Ethiopia. One was 350, that was your idea, or Epospa's idea, and there was one figure that you mentioned of 150,000 by some of your colleagues. So what are the bases for these two?
Just my.
To September, we are exporting 31,000 metric tons.
Sir.
And
no, this is my question. Just the moderator, let me explain. Is it okay? Now, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just for this presentation, I have been assessing these sesame growing areas of different regional states. So I have been receiving farm coverage, weather condition, the plantation condition. So based on this, I got information about this almost 550,000 hectares of land is covered with sesame seed. And this the crop situation, the season, the rain condition is good, the weather condition is good, and the crop condition is better than any years before. So my expectation is based on this the government data and the collected from we also the EPOSPA also gives assessment of crop condition by its own specially hired farm operators. So we got from two sides this the crop condition. We receive from government institutions and government organs, the other from independent surveyors. So based on this, we come in agreement that between 300 to 350,000 metric ton is expected.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sister.
Another. Let me.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. But you know, this when I'm see from around the world, this sesame crop condition and the yield per hectare, it's very sad. We are getting 120 kilogram to 550 kilogram per hectare, and the input, the labor, and this is discouraging. And the price, if the price is not as such worthy enough, the world will not get enough supply of sesame seed in the future. So major players like China and big trading houses like Olam and ATG, they should consider this hardly won material. So price has to be improved. We should pay to the farmers. We should pay to the growers. So this is my remark on this regard.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I think with this, we come to a wrap of this session. Srivastava, anything else we need to add? Please come ahead. Yes,
no, sir, it is perfect. It's perfect, though it is a little long. I think, each of the speakers have put their best in giving the most recent and updated information, and you conducted so very well, in the interaction session as well. If there are any more questions, I request all the delegates to take it up with the speakers offline. There is a networking platform, they can always do that one. We have 2 more speakers to go. The importance of this session is so evident that we have 250 people inside the conference room, unmoved, and then actively listening to the session. That itself is quite a significant thing, I would say, in my opinion. Thank you so much to you, Mr. Sandeep, and to all the speakers and panelists, especially our guests from South America who have woken up so early in the morning. Thank you so much for you for being part of this whole discussion, and thanks everyone for being an excellent and participating session this was. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was indeed
Thank
a
you.
wonderful session on sesame crop across the world, the challenges, the various dimensions of it, quite nicely captured by the speakers. So I hope that would have given a lot of insight to all of you who are listening to this conversation. Please, you can have a conversation with all the speakers separately as well. They would be available in the networking session. But don't go away. We have 2 more sessions quickly.